to talk, me and Amanda are going to talk about Disney Cruise Line.
Hi.
Hello.
How are we doing?
We're doing good. And you?
Hang on, I gotta turn you up. Oh, wrong way.
No, I should probably. I'm excited because I wore my Castaway K shirt today. So I knew I was going to wear it in spirit of us doing this episode today about Disney Cruise Line. So I'm ready.
Should have worn mine. I did not. It's hot up here, so.
That's fair.
Okie dokie. Should we get started?
Let's do this.
Disney Cruise Line. Got my notes
Nice. Same.
of all the promos.
Little.
Gosh darn it.
What?
I froze up again.
Oh, I was like, what?
No, I was like, you're not moving. I was like, I have my notes, and then you just weren't moving.
Nice. This is going to be a very chaotic episode, it sounds like. It'll be fine, though.
It's going to be that day. Well, my husband has been working from home, and whatever, like, his system that they use, it just sucks the internet. And so I think it's trying to recover from him.
Gotcha.
Because he was working right before this. So.
Gotcha,
all right.
Gotcha.
Disney Cruise, I got my notes of the promos. So.
Same.
Let's get this going.
All right, so we're gonna talk about some of the Disney Cruise promos that are going on. There's quite a few actually, some that pertain to like specific states or countries, and then some that are selective to specific sailings. So I guess I'll go first. The first one that kind of pops up is specifically for Florida residents, which is really great because Disney Cruise Line has like their two major ports there, Port Canaveral and Fort Lauderdale. So if you're a Florida resident, if I can talk, this is really great for you to save some money on some different sailings. So I kind of looked up into it a little bit more specifically. It's on specific sailings, and you can get up to 25% on your stateroom and all of that. So this is for any cruise that's a 3 to 5 night sailing. And I also saw that there's a 10-night sailing, which would be super fun. The three ships that you are going to see is either going to be the Wish, the Dream, or the Magic. So it just kind of depends on what itinerary you're going for. Obviously, these are going to be your Bahama type sailings. And then obviously the 10-night one is more of like a Western Caribbean type because it's obviously a lot longer. I thought that one would be, that's like a bucket list for me, is to do those longer sailings.
I lost you at Florida resident, but don't feel like you need to repeat.
No, you're good. Yeah, I covered all of Florida and was talking about how they have their special promotions for, for Port Canaveral and Fort Lauderdale. That it's really specific to three ships. You've got the Wish, the Magic, and the Dream. Mostly your 3 to 5 night sailings, and then one 10-night sailing, which is a bucket list cruise of mine. That would be so fun.
One thing that I found was interesting that I heard on the Wish, and if you already said this, then tell me to shut up. But when we were on the Wish, I think it was one of the crew members said that we did a 3-night sailing, last one we did in March, that a lot of those cruisers get off first thing. Because it was a Friday through Monday morning, right? And so then those Florida residents will get on Friday, and do a weekend sailing, and then get off first thing Monday morning and headed to work.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Those 3-night over the weekend sailings for Florida cruisers are very popular.
I'm kind of jealous, though. That's the way to do it, though, honestly. Like, what a good weekend, you know?
I can't win.
Uh-oh. I can still hear you. Okay. All right, well, I covered Florida, the Florida promo. Do you want to talk about a different one?
Sure. I think I'm working now for the moment. Um, so then one of the other big ones is the 30% off select sailings. And those are select sailings out of Port Canaveral and Fort Lauderdale.
Mhm.
I might have missed it the first time. They've got a December one out of Galveston with that 30% off.
Yes, and
I
I was
did
trying to
not
pull it up,
realize
and I
that
guess it locked me out. And if correct, I'm gonna pull it back up, and it kicked me out, of course. But I'm pretty sure that one out of Galveston is actually a Christmas specific cruise, the Very Merry Time
I
cruise,
think I saw
which
that.
would be extra
Mm-hmm.
fun. And I was gonna pull it up,
For
but of course,
sure.
like I said, it kicked me out. Let's see if I can pull it back up
Then
because I'm pretty sure.
there were some other
Yes.
international ones too, but I kind of kept it. Select dates June through
Sorry.
September, except the one out of Galveston in December.
Hmm.
But those are for guaranteed rooms. With that 30% off, it's the guaranteed room. So you don't get to pick your rooms. You are assigned closer to sailing. So that's the only kind of
Hmm.
caveat with that. And I didn't see an official end date with that. So are they just gonna eventually make it go away?
I guess once they kind of sell out, I'm assuming they'll just kind of disappear. Um, yeah, because I didn't see an end date either, honestly. So I'm not sure.
Mm-mm.
Did you say what ships are for this one? I can't remember if you said or
Sorry, go
not.
ahead.
Oh, can you hear me?
Um, I didn't. Uh,
Oh,
Magic. Well, clearly the Magic, and then Fantasy, Dream. Maybe not the Fantasy. Dream, Wish, and I think it's just a Dream and the Wish.
I see a couple sprinkled in of the magic. I have it literally pulled up because I was curious. Um, Obviously the magic from what I remember from understanding all the ships, I think magic is one of those that does those kind of all over the place cruises. Like they don't just stick to like Bahamas cruises like the Wish does. I think Magic is one of the ships that does a lot of different itineraries because they're down for one of the 10 night cruises. And I'm pretty sure, I think it's that one and the Fantasy that do all the different sailings. Oh,
Is the
and
one in
so for the
December?
staterooms, uh, what?
I was saying the Magic in December. Am I that lagged?
Uh,
Um,
is a little bit, or maybe I talked over, I don't know. But yes, the one in Galveston is the Magic.
how many
And I don't
nights
think
was
we
that? Was
said, but
that
for
3,
four.
4 nights?
So it's a 4 night
I'm
cruise.
gonna try to get back on.
Hmm.
Keep
Not
talking.
bad.
I'm gonna try to get back on Wi-Fi.
You're good. I was gonna say, for those that don't know about these specialty sailings where you get like so much percent off, it's not just for specific categories of rooms. You can do it for inside staterooms, ocean view, and veranda. But you're going to get a guaranteed room. You do not get to select what deck, where on the ship, just like Amanda said, closer to the sailing. It's just going to randomly select you where they're going to put you. So if you're okay with that, I mean, it is a great way to save money, but again, you're kind of locked into specific cruises. Um, but it is, if you're trying to save money because cruising can be expensive, um, it is a great way to save money.
Audrey said she saw that Disney will start permanently sailing out of Galveston in 2027.
Yes, I'm very excited about that because I know right now, I think it's kind of like the beginning of the year, really, by I think it's either March or April. That's when they kind of stop the Galveston sailings. So I'm very excited that it'll become permanent here in a few years because as someone who lives in Texas, It'd be very nice to maybe even just drive down there, versus having to get a flight to, Orlando and all the things. Yeah, it'll be very exciting. I'm very excited about that. Um, as far as other sailings or promotions go, the other ones are more so for Canada residents. Like there's one specifically for Canada residents. I don't work with anybody, at least right now, that lives in Canada, but I figured I'd at least quickly mention it if you do live in Canada. And again, it's for select sailings up to 25% off. I did not go into too much detail because, like I said, I don't really work with anybody in Canada, at least now. Never say never. But at least it's worth mentioning that if you're a Canada resident, kind of like Florida, there are, specific sailings that you can do and get a good discount.
Sam said we can do Disney days. Yep. Unless you're
That's
going out of
really
Fort Lauderdale.
true. Fort Lauderdale is harder, but I feel like most people that are going to cruise with Disney usually will do Port Canaveral, just because you can't do a Disney trip with it also.
Unless you're me, and then you do the Fort Lauderdale. We went in February, and it was like right after they started Fort Lauderdale. And so I think they were still trying to work out bugs in things. And so we just got a random hotel. We didn't get one that was contracted or anything because those were like astronomically through the roof for prices. Um, I mean, yes, it's close, but trying to find it's not as easy, I don't feel, as Disney, because then you can, or like Port Canaveral and staying at Disney World, getting the shuttle, and then heading out.
Hmm.
That's just my personal feeling on that. And that was our first time. So put that all together. We were we would have found a different hotel because they in theory had airport shuttle, or they had the airport shuttle, but then they also had the cruise shuttle, but it was first come first serve. So you show up at 7 o'clock because your flight was late, you didn't get on that cruise shuttle, so you had to find your own way when you were planning on using the cruise shuttle. It was kind of a nightmare.
Oh, yikes.
Do we talk about the Disney Visa card holder promo?
I haven't gotten to that one yet if you wanted to do that one.
That one is, if you are a Disney Visa card holder, you have to pay with that card, but you could get a $250 onboard credit. Those are for new bookings, guaranteed rooms, and that's the Wish in August and September on select sailings.
I
So,
was this close
and it
to
did
using
say,
my placeholder.
which there's another promo for that. They must be low on. They must be low on sailors. But it did say you could do the 30% off and the 250 credit.
Hey, that's a great way to do it, honestly.
Uh-huh. Because that 250 can get you far,
Oh yeah,
in my opinion.
thinking like a
So,
Palo brunch. I keep going back to back, like with what the perfect amount of cruising is. Honestly, if it's a first time cruiser, honestly, I would probably say a 4 night. I've kind of changed my mind because for a long time I was like, oh, 3 nights are great. Not really. It's too short. There's so much, especially if you go on the bigger ships like the Wish. There's so much to do, and it's not necessarily overwhelming. I guess it can be to an extent, but there's just so much to do, and only 3 nights is truly not enough time. especially if you're really wanting to see if cruising is for you or not. I don't think just a 3 night sailing is gonna cut it, honestly. I would look at those 4 or even a 5 night sailing if you can swing it, honestly.
I think our dream one was 5. I think it was 5. And it that last night felt long because we were done with all the fancy food. We just wanted cheeseburgers and chicken fingers. But it
Fair.
did allow you to do all, like, most of the things, and there were still things we missed.
For sure.
Um, the last offer is the placeholder offer that they announced. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want me to attempt it?
You can
Stupid
try.
Wi-Fi. um. So then, on top of the 2 for August and September with the 30% off, and then the Visa card holder, Disney also announced if you had a placeholder, so that you purchase. So a placeholder is a reservation for a future cruise that you purchase on the ship before you get off. So your current sailing, you purchased a future cruise. Typically, those are only about 10% um, uh, savings, but for select sailings in August and September on the Wish and the Dream, you could save up to 30% using those placeholders. That does have a book by August 1st that I did see.
That is a very quick turnaround, though, honestly. It's a lot of decisions that you have to make pretty quick. But
Mm-hmm.
again, hey, any money you can save is great. So there's that.
I mean, so they must not be filling up those ships September and August to where
That
they
would
can
make
run
sense
all
because that's
these. Pro-
right. So I think a lot of it too is because school goes back into session. Like we start really early, like early August. So I think that's probably part of it is, not very many families are wanting to travel because of back to school activities, getting started with, the new school year, all the new sports activities, all of the things.
that and I mean, Florida gets not the bad rap, but a very understood rap of hurricane season right during that
For
time
sure.
frame too.
Hmm.
Um, so you just kind of take that into account. But I feel like it's worse September, October. October, I feel like it's the most.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
I was I was gonna say after I stopped choking, Disney's really good about their hurricane policy though. So if, a hurricane is to come during your sailing, they have a really great hurricane policy in mind. Either if you're already on the cruise and there's like an active potential hurricane or there's a threat of one, they'll either reimburse the cruise, they'll detour, they'll do different things to kind of help, you know, um, get around that hurricane. But they're really good about it, even at the resorts too.
They right. They for our February sailing, there was a we were supposed to go to Grand Cayman, and there was like this freak tropical storm in February, mind you. Here I'm like, we're gonna be fine. We weren't fine.
Right?
They rerouted us and took us to Nassau. People were so mad. They're like, we did not pay for a Nassau cruise.
I mean, valid, valid. That could be a whole other episode
so,
talking about different stops.
mhm. So that was kind of a bummer because you plan. I mean, it was like 2, 3 days before we were supposed to like head out and sail. So you
Hmm.
make all these plans for months, and then 2 days before they're like, "Just kidding, we're not going to Grand Cayman. We are headed to Nassau." And you're like, "Ugh." And then it rained for the second half of our Castaway Key day.
Mm.
Um, so
Yeah,
we
Sarah Beth
got
is saying that
totally
there was
rained
times in
out.
March. There's times in March where some of the ships couldn't even dock because it was so windy. I can't even. That would really stink. Especially like she said, like a Castaway K day. And you can't even stop the ship because it's so windy. And of course, that's like the best destination because it's obviously Disney's island. And that would be very unfortunate that you have to skip that because of whatever weather, whether it's wind, a hurricane, the whatever. That'd be very unfortunate. But I'm sure Disney, they made up for it somehow.
I don't think they did. Did it for us. Um,
Wow, that one's a little bit different. Maybe not the best change of ports, but oop.
and it was busy. It was cool. It was like a ton of uh, ships were in that day too.
Ugh.
Um, what I'm most excited about for our December cruise is actually the sea day. So it's a 3 night, but one day's a sea day, and then we stop at Castaway Key. So we don't have any other
Okay.
ports. And I'm like, I kind of like that because we had some sea days on our 5 night and they just seemed a little more relaxed than even like a port day to where we didn't get off at Nassau and we did our 3 night cruise. But for some reason, to me, the sea days seem a lot calmer than even just stopping and even not getting off. I could be wrong. We'll
All
see
right.
you next week.
Yep.
Bye, my dear.
Bye.